Hi guys, today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in the month of October. October was a pretty good reading month. I think I read 8 books, had a couple 5 stars in there, and one surprising DNF. So hi, my name's Talia. I love books. I love bandanas. I'm so glad you're at my channel today. Especially if you're new, I've had quite a few new subscribers lately. Thank you for being here and joining my family of YouTube friends. My channel is something that has just been such an incredible blessing to my life the past year and a half, and I'm just so glad you're here with me. So, like I said, I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in October. I'm not even going to pretend and not have a cheat sheet today because it's like middle of November yet, and October is such a blur. So bear with me on my cheat sheet. Okay, so the first book I read in October was The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Now, this book I had been hearing about for years, and so many people rate this book so highly, so I had pretty high expectations for it. I had really been, I don't know what I was waiting for. I had just not picked it up for a long time. And finally, BookBuds actually on their channel, they were talking about The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I was like, okay, it's time. I really need to pick that up and read it. So I did. I checked it out from the library, and it was actually funny. This was the second time I checked it out from the library because the first time I checked it out from the library, I didn't even read it. I like ran out of time, and then someone else had a hold on it, and it had to go back. So finally I got House in the Cerulean Sea in my possession, sat down, I read it, and I didn't love it. It was anticlimactic there. It was fine. It was fine. I don't quite understand what all the hype was about, though. So if you don't know House in the Cerulean Sea, there's like this main character, his name's Linus. He works for the Department of Magical Youth. So there's all these magical children, and they're in like different orphanages or foster homes, and he's kind of in charge of going and checking out these homes and making sure that these children are safe. So he gets sent to this island on the Cerulean Sea, and he doesn't really know what he's getting into on his way there. And when he gets there, he realizes that there's like these very magical children. Like they're very powerful. Some have like very like dark powers, without giving too many spoilers. So he's there and he's kind of observing them, and he's in charge of deciding if this house should stay functioning the way it's functioning. And for me, 2 things. Okay, so like, I didn't fall in love with any of the children, really. For me, they were okay, but for me, like, I didn't love them. I was like, oh, this is cool. These children are interesting. Like, okay. And I didn't love Linus either. I thought Linus was just kind of a dud. So I don't know. I know I'm in like the minority here. Like, I know most people right now are like, Talia, what's your problem? How could you not like these characters? How could you not like this atmosphere? Because it's like this special house and this special island, and like there's these creatures and the like, I don't know. I just would kind of wanted it to be over. I didn't hate it. Like, I didn't hate it. I honestly think I gave it a 4-star because it was like a decent story, and it was about like accepting those that are different and not judging those who are different than you, and all these like things that were good. So I thought it was a good story. I don't know. I didn't think it lived up to the hype. So there's that. Okay, next, I read The Nancy Boys by Neil Gaiman, and I did love that. It was an audiobook that I listened to, and I thought it was really well done. We have our main character, his name is Fat Charlie, and his dad passes away, and as his dad passes away, he learns that he has a brother that he never knew about named Spider. And Spider comes to visit him, and then they realize, or Spider already knows, but Fat Charlie learns that his father was actually a god, the god of the spiders. So I can't give too much more information than that, except for it's the story of Fat Charlie and his brother Spider who aren't really getting along, and there's like some magical elements woven throughout, and it is funny. It is magical, but not too much like crazy magic. Because I don't love when magic is like out of control. I can't understand what's going on, and it wasn't. I loved the main characters. I thought even the spider, who they kind of make you not like him at the beginning, Neil Gaiman makes his character likable enough in some ways, so I really like that. Secondary characters were great. I just really liked it. It was one of the audiobooks that I like got my house a little bit extra clean because I wanted to keep reading. So yeah, I thought it was really well done. I really liked it. Okay, next I also listened to Murder by the Seashore by Samara Yu, and that was a NetGalley audiobook. So that was kind of my first cozy mystery I have read in a while. One of my goals for kind of this fall is to do more cozy mysteries. So this is the first in a series. She has just opened up a bookstore in the town of, I think it's Oceanside. I'm reading another book in a beach town too, so I don't know if I'm getting those crossed over right now, but beach town opens a bookstore. A murder takes place like on the pier in front of the bookstore, and then the person ends up having like poison in their system, and of course they find a bottle of poison like right behind her bookshop. So yeah, we kind of go from there, and the police are involved, and we're trying to figure out like if she was the murderer or if someone else was the murderer, and we kind of go from there. So number one, bookshop by the beach, and owning that, like who doesn't have that as like their dream? Because I think that would be like the most amazing thing ever. So I really loved that about it. Yeah, and I thought it was a cute story. I wouldn't say like this is the best thing ever, but I think like cozy mysteries aren't really designed to be like the best thing ever. They're just designed to kind of give you an escape. And I did kind of guess the ending. Like I was like, oh, I think it might be this, and then it made me think it wasn't that, but then it made me think it was, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't say it was like shocking or spectacular or anything, but it was fine. It was a fun read. Recommend if you're wanting beach vibe, cozy mystery book. Recommend for sure. It was cute. Okay, then I read Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Again, so my second Gaiman of the month. And I read this on a group read with Chatty the Mad Chatter. And I really liked this. I will say, this was the most scary book I've read by Gaiman. And this is like a children's book. But I thought it was much more scary than the Anansi Boys. And I thought it was much more scary than Neverwhere too. I don't know what it was. I think just because in Neverwhere he goes and gets like sucked down under the ground in London, right? And the Anansi Boys, it's like the magic is very like far-fetched, I feel like, kind of. But this just felt so real. And like, so Coraline is this kid, and she finds this like secret door in her house, and she goes to the other side of this door, and it's like this parallel universe where there's like the other mother and the other father, and they're like, Coraline, it's so great here, and they have like these button eyes, and they want her to stay, and they're like, we'll sew buttons on your eyes too, and like, it was so creepy. Like, it was so creepy. I liked it. Like, I liked it. It was a good read. But for me, I was like, ugh. Like, I literally saw, like, I cleaned out my fridge at one point while reading this, and I found buttons under it. Like, because my kids, like, are always doing crafts and stuff, and there's always, like, buttons and pipe cleaners and all sorts of stuff. And I literally saw the buttons, and I was like, oh, buttons. Like, I was creeped out by them. So I don't know what my problem is, but this was really scary. And there was like this cat that was like back and forth between the two universes, and he was like the good guy, like the good cat, but then like her other mother kept creeping up, and I don't know, totally creeped me out. So I'm a wuss. Coraline scared me. It is what it is. Okay, also I read Winter, which is the fourth book in the Lunar Chronicles. I'm not gonna say too much about this because I feel like I've been like beating this series over and over and over again, but I loved it. It was amazing. I got to like this point left, and I like stopped reading for a few days because I was like, I just don't want it to be over. Like, I just love it so much. So I still have, what is it called? I still have Stars Above to read, and that's like some short stories that are woven into the whole series. So I still have that to read, but I did finish the main Lunar Chronicles. So I'm sad it's over, but I loved it so much, and I'm definitely gonna keep it in my collection, give it to my daughter at some point, because I hope she loves it too. Okay, I took a trip to Florida this month, and on the way to Florida, I read The Girl Who Chased the Moon by Sarah Addison Allen. And this book, I had high expectations for, because I loved Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen so much. I thought that book was great. That was a 5-star. Really loved that one. And this fell so flat compared to that book. It still had like some like whimsical, magical vibes. It still had great food descriptions, which is something Sarah Addison Allen does well. And I love like being able to kind of taste what the characters are tasting in the books. But it fell kind of flat. So we have our main character, Emily, moves into her mother's childhood home with her grandfather, who she has never really met. And everyone in the town, it becomes really clear quickly that like everyone hates her. And she doesn't know why. And then it turns out that like her mother was like really evil and really mean. So everyone's like holding all this stuff against Emily. And then there's like this magic light that's behind her house, and she's trying to figure out like what this magic light is. So yeah, we kind of go from there, and like a couple characters befriend her, and we hear their stories in there, like kind of stories of the history of the past of this town. So it was okay, but just overall, it was just underwhelming. Like one of the storylines, there's kind of two storylines. One I thought was just unrealistic, like didn't make any sense. And like the magical elements of the other storyline, when they say what it was, for me, I'm just kind of like, what? You know, like there was no wow factor for me. There was no like, oh, this is wonderful, you know? And it wasn't like, oh, this is really terrible and bad either. It was just kind of like, what? Like, so yeah, I'm gonna unhaul that because didn't love it. Didn't live up to the expectations at all for that one. On the way home from Florida, I read The Incredible Winston Brown by Sean Dietrich, and I loved this book. Wasn't as good as Kinfolk, I will say. And my Kinfolk is supposed to be delivered today. I pre-ordered it a couple months ago. Watch this video if you want to see how much I love Kinfolk. So that was a couple months ago that I read that, loved it. So I've been reading more by Sean Dietrich. Sean of the South is what he goes by. And The Incredible Winston Brown was really good. 5-star, takes place in the South. Winston Brown is our main character. He is dying of lung cancer. And this book just has like all the small town vibes with a mystery wrapped in. We have this girl who appears in the town who has actually escaped from this cult up in the north. So we kind of have like the story going on of her and the people she's escaping from and the people that are trying to help her escape. And then we have Winston Brown, who is trying to come to grips with his terminal illness and making a difference in the town that he has lived in for years and years and years, and kind of it all culminating together. And I just thought it was really well done. It has like the Southern food, the Southern love of baseball. I think it takes place in the 60s, if I remember correctly. Because the Dodgers, the LA Dodgers, they're the Brooklyn Dodgers in this book. So yeah, it's back a little bit. But yeah, I really love this. I feel like it was really well done. Sean Dietrich can do no wrong in my book. I love his writing. I actually, for Nonfiction November, which I will talk about in November, but I read his memoir and it was outstanding. So I will talk about that more then. But yes, Sean of the South is a winner for me. The next book I read was In the Company of Cows by Sequoia Brannon. And this was an art given to me by the author. So thank you so much for giving me a copy of your book to review. I really appreciate it. This book is about a girl who is a rancher, and she has given basically like her heart and soul to cattle ranching. She loves cows and horses and being on the ranch, and she works basically 24 hours a day, like going around checking the cows, making sure they're okay. She has like 100 cows that are giving birth. So if anything goes wrong with one of the cows, like she's in charge of helping out with that. And you can tell that definitely this girl knows what she's talking about. And actually the author, her job is like being a rancher and working on a ranch. And she definitely draws from real life experiences in this book. And it's funny because I actually, when I was growing up, my grandpa owned cows. So I did a bit of cow taking care of. Not a lot, but some, like when he'd go out of town and when babies were born, we would be present for like the castration and stuff to help him with that process. So I do have like a little bit of cattle knowledge. So it's interesting learning and reading about some of these terms and what goes into life taking care of a large quantity of cows, because it is not for the faint of heart. Like there's like 2 a.m. check and 4 a.m. check when the cows are giving birth to make sure that like none of the cows goes into distress and has a problem. Like she was in charge of all of it. So that part I thought was really interesting. She also, like this character has kind of like anxiety issues and doesn't take super good care of herself, which I can totally relate to. There's multiple times where she's like, I was hungry, so I just grabbed like a chips and cheese. And I'm like, that's totally me. Like, I'm like hungry, taking care of kids. I'm tired. I'm like, just get chips and cheese. Like, that's fine. That'll keep you alive, you know? So there was lots I liked about the book. I will say overall, the story and the path it took wasn't super engaging for me. And a little bit of the, like the social anxiety seemed a little bit far-fetched for me. But not enough to like turn me off entirely to the story. Like, I thought it was cute. And if you're looking for like a cute book about ranching cows, like I thought it was a sweet read. So thank you again for letting me review that. It was a fun one. Okay, the last book I read or tried to read in October was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Okay, I'm only halfway through and I think I'm gonna DNF this because I'm just not liking it at all. I will say, I buddy read this, or tried to buddy read this, with the lovely Rachel over at Homeschool with Rachel. So if you do not follow her channel and you are a homeschooling mom, like she is amazing and she gives great homeschooling advice. She reviews curriculum that it's not like mainstream curriculum, like stuff that I haven't heard of. So it's really fun and she is just wonderful. So she didn't like this book either. She did finish it. I think she skimmed like the last half and it was like, no, it doesn't get better. So I don't think I'm going to end up finishing this, which is interesting because Lucy Foley is really like, Lucy Foley is really popular, but I thought this writing was terrible. I don't think this writing flows well. I think it's like super choppy. I think there's like an unnecessary use of profanity. I feel like there was kind of like little like graphic scenes just dropped in like just for fun. And that's just not my vibe. Like I don't really care about what happened to the brother because the whole premise of this book is like she shows up at this apartment and the brother is gone. I just don't really care. Like, he could be dead alive. Like, I don't really care. And it's this whole apartment, this whole thing of, like, everyone in the apartment is, like, has a past and is kind of unlikable. And, yeah, this book is just lame. So, tell me, do you think I should keep going? Is it gonna, anyone think it's gonna, like, turn out good for me? And if you've read this book and love it, tell me why. And are other books by this author good? Because I have another one. What else do I have? Oh, I have the guest list too. Like, should I read the guest list if I didn't like this at all? Yeah, I just feel like this might be one of the things where I just really don't like this popular author because she is everywhere and I'm just not feeling it at all. So, sorry, no offense if you love Lucy Foley. I'm sure she speaks to many a good person because I see her everywhere and she has pretty decent reviews on Goodreads. So yeah, just not for me, I guess. Okay, that's all that I'm going to talk about today. I wonder how long this video was because I feel like I chatted quite a bit and I'm kind of out of breath. But anyways, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I hope you take some time today to read a good book or two. And if you're having a bad hair day, just wear a bandana. Bye.